This video completes Chapter 6 on anatomy and physiology by looking at the anatomy, the structure, and the physiology, the function of the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system has a couple of key functions. It will collect interstitial fluid, excess fluid that we find between the cells, interstitial, in the spaces is what that means, and return that fluid to the bloodstream. And principally, it will also help produce lymphocytes, white blood cells that respond to invading pathogens. So the lymphatic system consists of some various organs, the largest of which is the spleen. The spleen, remember this, is in the left upper quadrant of the abdomen. And so if you're assessing a patient and you notice some pain up there, be careful of that because it filters blood and serves as a reservoir of blood. That could be a critical assessment finding. Additionally, we have the tonsils that are located in the throat, and they help fight infection because they're parked right at the back of the pharynx where air is going to enter either our nose or our mouth as we inhale, thinking about the respiratory system. The thymus gland is in the anterior part of the neck, and then we have the lymph nodes at different locations through the body, collecting some of those ducts from the rest of the lymphatic system, and they'll help produce additional white cells and collect some of the white blood cells that have been fighting infection as well. Now, specifically, how that works is we develop an immune response. Immunity is that state of being protected from some sort of an infectious disease. And so all of those components, the spleen, the thymus, and the lymphatic system, work in conjunction with bone marrow and particular antibodies that we might develop to fight off infection. Now, leukocytes, those white blood cells, are the workhorses of the immune system. They're going to be produced in the bone marrow, but then transported via blood and lymphatic systems to the site of infection, and they will engulf, actually envelop invading pathogens to help destroy them. Now, in this arms race, oftentimes pathogens can overwhelm that initial response in those leukocytes. If you have a pathogen that multiplies very quickly, either virally or bacterially, that population doubling can happen as quickly as every 20 seconds. And so if leukocytes lose essentially what's a population battle, they can't respond locally and a systemic infection might result. Now, the lymphatic system also helps by producing protective proteins called antibodies. And so if you contracted chickenpox as a child, antibodies specific to the chickenpox virus have been developed. And those antibodies stick around, and if chickenpox was to be something you were exposed to again, your body would recognize it and ramp up its immune response much more quickly. Those antibodies respond to particular antigens. Think of those as signals or billboards on the outside of that pathogen that identify it. The lymphatic system's principal job is to respond to those pathogens by producing those lymphocytes that can respond and envelop some sort of a pathogen and fight off infection.